When's enough? This guy's throwing everything back at you. Subpoenas, he's throwing back at you contempt of Congress threats. Everything he can imagine is within his power. And now it comes out he tried to get, according to this reporting by the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times, that he tried to get his former White House lawyer to cover him on obstruction of justice by saying it wasn't obstruction, even though we all know by watching it, it was.
Well, we are certainly watching a rogue, reckless, and renegade administration unfold before our very eyes, and more importantly, the eyes of the American people. But we still have an obligation to proceed in a systematic fashion. What Congressman Jerry Nadler, the chair of the House Judiciary Committee, has said, we're going to have a hearing or a series of hearings to explore obstruction of justice, abuse of power, and the culture of corruption that appears to exist at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. In order for us to do that in a way that's meaningful for the American people, we're going to need to secure the participation of witnesses such as Don McGahn. That's why he's been subpoenaed.
But I understand, I'll go to Victoria on the law here, but I understand that you have a better shot at getting these people to testify if you're involved in an impeachment exercise, because they're clearly performing the unique constitutional role of the U.S. Congress and the House to prosecute such a case. Short of that, what confidence do you have that anybody's going to come and show up before you, that any document's going to show up before you, including the unredacted Mueller report? Where's your confidence from?
I have confidence in the United States Constitution, and what's clear is that the House is a separate and co-equal branch of government. We don't work for Donald Trump. We work for the American people. We have a constitutional responsibility. Well, we have a constitutional responsibility to serve as a check and balance on the out-of-control executive branch. That's why we just have begun contempt proceedings on the Attorney General, because he's out of control. That's not the end. That's the beginning for us. But we are going to proceed in a way that is consistent with our oversight responsibilities, but we're not going to over-politicize, overreach, or over-investigate either.
How do you get the Justice Department under the control of William Barr to give you a citation on contempt of Congress or an indictment against Barr himself, the Justice Department head? How do you get that to happen?
It's a good question, Chris, but there are two routes. There's the Justice Department route, and in all likelihood, they will not pursue a contempt citation against their own Attorney General, but courts have consistently indicated that Congress has its own inherent powers to enforce a contempt of Congress citation that could take many forms, including fining an individual that is not in compliance. That's on the table. We'll see where we have to go based on following the process that's ahead of us, which will involve eventually bringing this contempt citation before the floor of the House of Representatives.